Debut at Manchester City. It turned into an excellent season, finishing in the top 6. Well, this season, manager Dave Bassett had gone, replaced by Bobby Gould, but the results remained 7th position and a place in the cup final. Wimbledon's direct approach hasn't exactly been honed on the assault course, but they're a side of character and resilience and a stern test for Liverpool. Well, Liverpool these days don't think in single trophies but doubles, aiming to become the first side to complete a second Cup and League double, something that would eclipse even the great Spurs side of 1961, double winners under Danny Blanchflower, the first this century. And Arsenal, 10 years later, double winners under Frank McLintock. Liverpool won their double under Alan Hansen's captaincy 2 years ago. Good side then, but the current Liverpool lineup is arguably the greatest post-war club we've seen. But we're not going to get into the footballing debate here. Instead, Tony Gubber examines more the off-the-field life of two players who are bound to be prominent on Saturday. John Barnes of Liverpool and John Fashanu of Wimbledon.
The FA Cup final is a worldwide showcase for Britain's two most prominent black footballers to display their different talents. Liverpool's John Barnes strokes and caresses the ball with a style that evokes poetry. Wimbledon's John Fashanu is a more awesome athlete who thrives on the game's physical contact. Both are potential match winners in a final of sharp contrasts.
Well, I think it's probably best I describe them as Liverpool being the Rolls-Royce of the car industry and Wimbledon being the Morris Minor. Wimbledon rely a lot on our enthusiasm. I would say, that's the word I tend to use, the enthusiasm for the game. We have got players who've got a lot of ability. There's no doubt about that, but certainly because of our disciplinary record at the moment, it's brought to the forefront.
I don't think it matters who was playing who in this cup final. I mean, the cup final is such a great occasion that no matter who was playing, that would be the #1 spectacle in football of the year. You know, and the fact that it's Liverpool and Wimbledon, I think it just adds that extra bit of spice because of the Wimbledon fairy tale story.
The fairy tale and difference between star individuals is best judged if you take John Fashanu back to the roots of his childhood, when at the age of 3 he became a Dr. Barnardo's boy. Just one of 300,000 youngsters who've passed through the orphanages of Dr. Barnardo's since the first Home for the Destitute was opened 120 years ago. Once himself the sad child of a broken home, John has a close affinity with today's young underprivileged.
Thinking cap's head. Oh, it's not bad. Catch. He's pretty good. He's pretty good.
With elder brother Justin, John was eventually fostered to the Norfolk cottage home of Alfred and Betty Jackson.
I wasn't at all sure about having coloured children, but I asked the family and they persuaded me that I'd love them as much as I'd love anybody else. John was difficult at first. We had nights of him not being able to go to sleep. The Dr. Barnardo's advisor who visits, and sees that everything's going well, told me that the best thing to do was to cuddle him ever so tight. It was insecurity and he just wanted security, so we started cuddling him ever so tight.
From bleak beginnings, both boys became professional footballers. Justin, once £1 million transfer to Nottingham Forest. John, rejected by Norwich, but destined to become a major force in Wimbledon's rise to prominence. Betty and husband Alfred, who's since died, have always remained mum and dad to the Fashanu boys, even when in adult life they became reconciled with their real parents.
Lawrence rang for you yesterday, Chris.
Betty saw her responsibility as feeding the minds as well as the stomachs.
When they were young and they wanted to be white, I used to say to them, you're black, you've got to stay black, and you must be proud of being black, and you've got to be better than anybody else at whatever you undertake because you're black. And so they've tried to be better than anybody else.
So John Fashanu with the chance for his 21st goal of the season to make it 1-1. And he takes it in such a simple fashion.
That penalty in Wimbledon's 2-1 semi-final victory over Luton, the latest chapter in a rags to riches story.
I think that I was very, very fortunate to be fostered by such a good couple. I don't think there's any resentment at all because of how I've come out. Really, the outcome. I think you'll find cases where there has been resentment, and you'll find every success stories. But for every success story, of course, there's another 300-400 or whatever who haven't been successful.
Sure. How much do you think the experiences that you had as a young child have shaped you into the man that you are now?
Well, I think that they've been very, very important. I mean, that was my education in life. I mean, not taking anything for granted. Obviously now where you get to you having a taste of success, and this is only a start of success, you want more, obviously, but you never, ever forget your roots. I think it's very, very important. I certainly wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, and so I have had to work hard, and we've struggled to get to the top. And I think it's as I'm here now, and I'm with those kids here, and I'm looking into their eyes, and they're looking up to me and saying, hey, this guy can do it. I'm here. The reason I'm here is I'm showing you, hey, you can do it. I started with nothing, and I've been reasonably successful. And I'm saying to you boys there, it's there for you as well. Okay. Hello? Yeah. Yeah, Isaiah. Yeah, okay.
John Fashanu's determination to outgrow his origins emerges in his multivarious business dealings.
Yes. Yeah. You're talking about Ginger? Okay.
Often with his real father, Patrick, who's now a barrister in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a lot of stigma linked to being in Barnardos for children today, and to see someone that has made it can often help as a good model that you don't have to be an orphan child, you don't have to be linked with this old stigma. You can actually go out and do something for yourself and make it.
Ex-Barnardos boy Bruce Oldfield became a royal fashion designer, the favourite of the Princess of Wales. Leslie Thomas became a best-selling author. While John Fashanu's boundless energies have been channelled into establishing Wimbledon in the First Division and in their first Wembley FA Cup final. Success has brought voices from the past, like this greetings card sent by the nursery nurse who used to scrub those knees back in the days at Dr. Barnardo's, equally excited at the Wembley appearance.
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, just being here when it's empty like this, it sends goose pimples all over you. I can't imagine what it would be like on cup final day. I can't imagine it at the moment. I mean, you can imagine from... See, we've already started. What can we say? Do we have to stand up here? Do we get up? Fantastic. It says it all, doesn't it? When it's empty with this anyway, fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. I've got my place booked anyway.
Also assured of her seat is real Mother Pearl, a nursing district officer in an old people's home who, with 2 other sons and a daughter, will travel to Wembley in style on Saturday in a stretch limousine hired by John. Also there will be the affluent Jamaican parents of John Barnes. Dad Ken, second in command of his country's defence corps. Mother Jean, once a Jamaican television personality. On Monday, they were both at Anfield to see John Barnes play in a Liverpool shirt for the very first time. They've always been faces in the crowd, since they came to England when John was 12 and he got his first opportunities playing for the Stowe Boys Club in Paddington, before being recommended by their coach to Sudbury Court and later on to Watford. Trophies even came at this early age, although Dad always had some doubts.
As a teenager, he was a good player, but he didn't strike me as being exceptional. So when he got the contract with Watford, of course I was delighted, because he wanted to play and so on. But I can't say that I thought he would have had the kind of success that he has had.
This is English summer. What's the matter with it?
The Liverpool trophy cabinet, proudly displayed on Monday evening, already includes the Barclays Football League Championship trophy. Perhaps the first half of yet another League and FA Cup double. But what emotions for the parents on Saturday?
Well, after today, I don't think I'll be able to stand it. Well, I was shouting and carrying on and making my husband very embarrassed, as I always do on these occasions, shouting out and put your socks up and this sort of thing, and down, down, terrible. He said, what's the matter with you? Keep quiet. So I don't know what it'll be like on Saturday. I don't know how I'll have to take a tranquilizer before, I think.
Sure. How proud does the mother feel when she sees the boy play?
Very, very proud, very proud. But more worried than proud that he'll do something silly. That's the thing.
Just thinking back to when John was a small boy, what sort of a youngster was he?
Oh gosh, well, he didn't like books. Huh? That was the biggest thing. He never liked schoolwork. It was always outdoors, always playing. So we used to have a couple of confrontations about the books and the work. But he was a very nice boy. Very nice, not rude or anything like that. Very loving. He is very loving.
It needed a son's loving and generous spirit to forgive the shameful throwing of bananas in his first match for Liverpool against Everton.
It was like water for ducks back to me. I had it when I was 17 playing at Chelsea and playing at West Ham when I was 18 the following year. And it's much worse down in London than it is in Liverpool. I think that the people in Liverpool were stunned by it because they'd never seen it before. Because with me being the first black player, well, Howard Gale, but the first black player to consistently play for Liverpool, there was never an occasion where that was ever going to happen. So when it did happen, they were shocked and they were all coming up to me and how appalled they all were. But I mean, I'm not saying I didn't see anything wrong with it, but you know, it didn't mean a thing to me because I've had it since I've been a professional footballer.
Bigotry is always best answered with brilliance.
Barnes won it. He won it from Brock. He's got Beardsley going to his left, but still Barnes. That's a fabulous individual goal.
Liverpool FC is hard as hell. United, Tottenham, Arsenal. Watch my lips, and I will spell. Cause they don't just play, but they can rap as well. Liverpool FC.
My lads have come from all over the place. So now we gotta learn them to talk real cool. That's why you gotta learn if you live in the pool.
That's unbelievable, it really is. I think they should stick to playing football. Terrible. What do you think, Kenny? Oh, yeah!
Liverpool might end the season top of the pops, top of everything. Barnes has already been voted the double player of the year by the sports writers and his own professionals.
That's a tribute from his fellow professional, and I was so pleased to win it. You know, I had an idea that I'd won it before the night, but even when we were sitting down there, you know, they started in third place, so second place. I still didn't really think that. I thought first place they were going to call someone else. You know, I wasn't that 100% convinced that it was going to be me. And when they actually called my name, it was very emotional. I didn't think it would be because, as I said, I thought I had an idea that I had won, so I didn't think it would be an emotional moment, but it was. It was fantastic.
And when you look at the list of great names of players who've won it in the past, obviously one has to make the comment that you are the first of our black players to come through and take that award.
That's right, and that's an honour in itself. But I think an even greater tribute, not to myself but to Liverpool, is that we had 4 or 5 players. 4 players in the top 6. In fact, 4 players in the top 4. You know, we came first, second, third and fourth, which just goes to show the strength of the Liverpool team this year.
That strength perfectly illustrated by this classic goal in the 2-1 semi-final victory over Nottingham Forest.
Barnes, Aldridge is there, Aldridge! And exactly the same again. Liverpool come out of defence and snatch a vital goal. And again, Barnes involved, and what a volley from Aldridge.
On Monday night, John Aldridge was acrobatically on the scoresheet again in the 1-1 draw with Luton. But the legacy of that match was the accidental clash of heads between Nigel Spackman and Gary Gillespie, which left both of them dazed and bruised, needing stitches and an overnight stay in hospital, and which has cast doubts about their fitness for the final against Wimbledon, who played well in this season's league meetings with Liverpool, but without getting a result.
We drew 1-1 down at Plough Lane, and we beat them 2-1. They're good games, they're close games. The FA Cup is going to be totally different. If we had beaten them 6-0 on both occasions, the FA Cup those 2 results would have no bearing on the match at all. If they had beaten us, it wouldn't make any difference. The FA Cup is such a special and a one-off occasion that, you know, previous results or past form has no bearing on it at all. It just depends on who plays well on the day.
You know what it's like to be a loser at Wembley in a cup final?
Yes, I do. It's not a very nice feeling. I don't want to be another loser.
What John Barnes and Liverpool may not have realised is that the trophies and the medals this year will be presented by the Princess of Wales, who also happens to be the president of Dr. Bernardo's. A fact that has not been lost on Wimbledon's John Fashanu.
What I intend to do is to half my players' ball, whatever it might be, and present Lady Diane with a cheque. Not because it's the money terms, because we're not talking of hundreds of thousands, but because it will receive publicity, and it can only enhance Dr. Bernardo's and mean that more successful people will start to help Dr. Bernardo's.
You're not going to do this when you go up the steps at Wembley immediately after the cup final, are you?
No, I don't think so, no. Maybe when we're riding home in the limousine.